Announcer bot is active. "40 minutes remaining in the session." 35 minutes remaining in the session. 30 minutes remaining in the session. 25 minutes remaining in the session. 20 minutes remaining in the session. 15 minutes remaining in the session. 10 minutes remaining in the session. 5 minutes remaining in the session. The qualification session is at Brands Hatch Circuit in Fawkham, Great Britain. Asan from Pakistan in Brabham Strait is first. Pertti from Finland in Druids Bend is second. Philip from Belgium in Graham Hill Bend is eighth. Austrian from Canada in Hawthorne Hill is seventh. Biskuptovec from Poland in Surtees Bend is P10. Asan in Brabham Strait is P1. Asan is up 12.21 in Graham Hill Bend. Asan is up 12.53 in Hawthorne's Bend. Asan is up 11.63 in Stirling's Bend. Goshu Lashoto from Bulgaria in Brabham Strait is P2. Asen in Brabham Strait is P4. Potato in Brabham Strait is 6th. Philip in Brabham Strait is P7. Asan in Surtees Bend is P12, up 0.23. Asan is up 0.11 in Westfield Bend. Asan is up 115 in Clearways. Potato is P-3 up 0.62. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Potato improved is P2 with a 131.172. 0.535 off pole. Lockies from Latvia in Brabham Strait is P10. Gunnar Potter from United Kingdom in Clark Curve is P10 up 0.78. Asan in Westfield Bend is P3 up 0.26. Basic Russian setup from Latvia in Sheen Curve is 7th up 0.69. Basic Russian setup improved is 6th with a 132.504, 1.867 off pole. Philip in Brabham Strait is 11th. Philip improved is 6th with a 132.254, 1.617 off pole. Hex from Latvia in Hawthorns Bend is 15th, up 3.47. Asan is P11 up 0.20. Austrian is up 0.44 in Dingledell. Austrian is up 0.67 in Clark Curve. Hassan improved is 11th with a 135.487, 4.850 off pole. Bishkoptovitz in Clark Curve is 6th. Iskoptovich improved is 4th with a 131.398, 0.761 off pole. Clemwy is P13 up 0.60. Asan and Clearways is 3rd up 0.29. Asan improved is 2nd with a 131.030, 0.393 off pole. Alson in Clark Curve is P12 up 2.16. Five minutes remaining in the session. Asen improved is 10th with a 133.532, 2.895 off pole. Ferrixo from Spain in Surtees Bend is P6 up 0.22. Clemmy in Sterling's Bend is 12th up 0.46. Goshu-Lashoto in Sterling's Bend is 8th up 0.14. Connor Potter in Surtees Bend is P9 up 0.61. Connor Potter is up 0.68 in Westfield Bend. Connor Potter's up 0.55 in Clearways. Connor Potter improved as P7 with a 132.401, 0.1764 off pole. Clemmy in Clearways is 12 up 0.17. The Raxo in Sterling's Bend is P-6 up 0.51. The Raxo improved is P2 with a 130.780, 0.143 off pole. Hex in Clearways is P13 up 0.56 driving a Hyundai. Philip is 6th up 0.10. Goshu-Lashoto in Hawthorne Hill is P8 up 0.11. Purty in Druids Bend is first up 0.15. Hex is P14 up 2.76. Hex is up 4.54 in Dingledell. Goshu-Lashoto in Clark Curve is P8. Oshu-Lashoto improved is 7th with a 132.248, 0.1.611 off pole. Hex from Latvia in Clark Curve is P13 up 3.99. Ronan Carvalho from Brazil in Brabham Strait is 14th. Connor Potter from United Kingdom in Clearways is 8th up 0.28. The qualifying session is now in overtime. Connor Potter improved is P7 with a 132.081, 1.444 off pole. Asan in Surtees Bend is third up, 0.18. Asan is up 0.32 in Westfield Bend. Asan is up 0.12 in Clearways. Asan improved as P3 with a 1:38.70, .233 off pole. Connor Potter in Sterling's Bend is 7th. Best lap is a 1:32.081, 1.444 off pole. Goshu Losho in Dingle Dell is P8, driving a Audi. Best lap is a 1:32.248, 1.611 off pole. The race session is at Brands Hatch Circuit in Falcombe, Great Britain. Purdy from Finland is first. Theraxo from Spain is second. Asan from Pakistan is P3. Itano is P4. Biskoptowiec from Poland is P5. Philip from Belgium is 6th. Connor Potter from United Kingdom is P7. Goshu Losho from Bulgaria is P8. Basic Russian setup from Latvia is 9th. 20 minutes remaining in the session, race start. Purdy is first. Asan and Brabham Straight is P3. Potato and Halewoods Hill is 4th. Biskoptowiec in Druids Bend is P4. Potato is 3rd. Biskoptowiec is P3. Potato in Surtees Bend is 2nd. Biskoptowiec is 3rd. Potato in Hawthorne Hill is 2nd. Goshu Losho is P5. Potato is 2nd. Biskoptowiec is P3. Potato is second. Biskupofte is third. Potato in Clearways is P2. Biskoptovics in Clark Curve is P3. Asan in Brabham Strait is fourth. The Raxo in Patakill Bend is second, 0.1 behind Potato. Asan in Druids Bend on lap 2 is fourth, 0.1 behind Biskupovets. Asan is now ninth. Purdy in Graham Hill Bend is third, driving a Hyundai, 0.5 behind Biskoptovets. Hex from Latvia in Cooper Strait is P6, 0.3 ahead of Connor Potter. Pirti is P3. Connor Potter in Hawthorne Hill is P7, driving a Cupra, 0.1 ahead of Philip. Pirti is P3, 0.2 behind Biskoptovets. Hex in Westfield Bend is P6, 0.2 behind Goshulashoto. Pirti is P3, 0.6 behind Biskoptovets. Goshulashoto in Sterling's Bend is P5, 0.4 behind Austin. Pirti in Clark Curve is third, 0.4 behind Biskoptovets. Us 13 is currently 6th place, 0.5 ahead of Connor Potter. Biskoptovets in Halewoods Hill is P3, 0.2 behind Pirti. Pirti was 2.5 faster last lap. Asen in Druids Bend is 6th, 0.5 ahead of Philip. Philip is 7th, 0.4 behind HS3N. Hex in Cooper Strait is 5th, 0.5 behind Goshulashoto. Ostern in Surtees Bend is 6th, 0.3 ahead of Philip. Hex from Latvia in Pilgrim's Drop is P5, 0.4 behind Goshulashoto. Ussen in Hawthorne Hill is P7, 0.4 behind Philip. Hex is P5, 0.4 behind Goshulashoto. Basic Russian setup in Westfield Bend is P8, 0.2 behind Oz3N. Basic Russian setup was 2.7 faster last lap. Basic Russian setup passed Oz3N for P7. Hex is 5th. Dillip is P6. Connor Potter in Clark Curve is P8, 0.2 behind Basic Russian setup. Asan in Brabham Strait is 11th. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Connor Potter in Halewoods Hill is P7, driving a Cupra, 0.3 behind Basic Russian setup. Ostern in Druids Bend is T9, 0.1 ahead of Hex. Philip from Belgium is 5th, 0.6 behind Goshulashoto. Hex in Surtees Bend is 10th, 0.1 behind Asen. Asen was 2.0 faster last lap. Philip from Belgium in Hawthorne's Bend is 5th, 0.3 behind Goshulashoto. Hex in Hawthorne's Bend is P10, 0.3 behind Asan. Philip in Dingle is P5, 0.3 behind Goshulashoto. Asen in Dingle is 8th, 0.3 behind Potato. Connor Potter is P10, 0.4 behind Hex. Goshu Lashoto in Clark Curve is 5th, 0.4 behind Philip. Asan in Clark Curve is P8, 0.2 behind Potato. Hex in Brabham Straight is 9th. Goshu Lashoto from Bulgaria in Halewoods Hill is P5, 0.5 behind Philip. Asan in Druids Bend is P8 battling Hex. Asan lost P9 to Connor Potter. Goshu Lashoto is 5th. Asan in Cooper Strait is 9th, 0.4 behind Hex. Potato is P7, 0.6 behind Basic Russian Setup. Basic Russian Setup in Hawthorne Hill is 7th, 0.3 behind Potato. Asan in Hawthorne's Bend is P9 driving a Krupra, 0.2 behind Hex. Philip in Sheen Curve is P4, 0.6 behind Biskuptovets. Hex from Latvia in Dingle Dell is 9th, 0.5 behind Asan. Asan was 6.0 faster last lap. Jamper from Italy is P12. Best lap is a 1:35.514, 4.987 off the fastest lap. Potato in Brabham Straight is 6th, 0.1 behind Goshu Lashoto. Philip is P4, 0.4 behind Biskuptowitz. Os 3N in Brabham Straight is 12th, 0.1 behind Jamper. Philip from Belgium is P-4, 0.2 behind Biskuptowitz. Philip was 1.0 faster last lap. Goshu Lashoto in Cooper Strait is 6th, 0.4 behind Potato. Philip in Hawthorne Hill is P4, 0.4 behind Biskuptowicz. Basic Russian Setup in Hawthorne's Bend is P7, 0.6 behind Goshu Lashoto. Philip in Dingle Dell is P4, 0.3 behind Biskuptowicz. Hex is 10th driving a Hyundai, 0.5 behind Connor Potter. Biskuptowicz is P4, 0.6 behind Philip. Asan is P8, 0.4 behind Basic Russian Setup. Asan was 0.6 faster last lap. Biskuptowicz in Brabham Straight is 4th, 0.4 behind Philip. Asan in Brabham Straight is P8, 0.3 behind Basic Russian Setup. Biskuptowicz in Druids Bend is 4th, 0.6 behind Philip. Ten minutes remaining in the session. Clemmy on lap 7 is 12th, 1.1 behind Asen. Pirti is 2nd, 0.3 behind Therixo. Asan in Pilgrim's Drop is 8th, driving a Cupra, 0.2 behind Basic Russian Setup. Protony in Sterling's Bend is P2, 0.1 behind Theraxo. Asan in Westfield Bend is 8th, 0.2 behind Basic Russian Setup. Pirti is P2. Asen is 8th. Pirti is P2. Asan is 8th. Pirti is P2, 0.2 behind Theraxo. Basic Russian Setup in Brabham Straight is 7th. Pertzi is second, driving a Hyundai, 0.6 behind Tharaxo. Basic Russian setup is 7th, 0.6 behind Goshu Lashoto. Perti in Pilgrimstrop is second, 0.6 behind Tharaxo. Basic Russian setup in Cooper Strait is P7, 0.5 behind Goshu Lashoto. Perti is P2, best lap is a 1:30.527. Basic Russian setup from Latvia in Hawthorne Hill is P7.3 ahead of Asan. Asan in Hawthorne's Bend is 8th, 0.2 behind Basic Russian setup. Basic Russian setup in Westfield Bend on lap 8 is P7.2 ahead of Asan. Purdy and Clark Curve is second, 0.5 behind Tharaxo. Purdy was 2.4 faster last lap. Goshu Lashoto is sixth, driving an Audi, 0.4 behind Bishkoptovitz. Bishkoptovitz was 1.7 faster last lap. Perti in Druids Bend is second, 0.4 behind Tharaxo. Jamper is P13, 0.6 behind CL3MY. Perti in Surtees Bend is P2, 0.5 behind Tharaxo. Jamper in Brabham Strait is 13th, 0.5 behind CL3MY. Jamper was 1.2 faster last lap. Art D in Hawthorne's Bend is P2, driving a Hyundai, 0.2 behind Tharaxo. Tharaxo in Westfield Bend is P-2, 0.3 behind Perti. Tharaxo passed Pirti for P-1. Perti is second. Goshu Lashoto in Hawthorne's Bend is P6, 0.4 behind Biskuptovitz. Jamper in Hawthorne Hill is 13th, 0.4 behind Klemme. Goshu Lashoto is 6th, 0.3 behind Biskuptovitz. Erti in Paddock Hill Bend is P2.1 behind Tharaxo. Goshu Lashoto in Clearways is 6th, 0.6 behind Biskuptovitz. Perti is P2. Goshu Lashoto is 6th, 0.6 behind Biskuptovitz. Jamper in Clearways is 13th, 0.3 behind CL3MY. Goshu Lashoto in Druids Bend is P6, 0.5 behind Biskuptovitz. Asan is P8, 0.4 behind Connor Potter. Jamper in Druids Bend is 13th, 0.4 behind CL3MY. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Asan is P8. Jamper in Cooper Strait is 13th, 0.1 behind Selmy. Perti in Clearways is P2, 0.5 behind Tharaxo. Basic Russian setup in Dingle Dell is P8, 0.1 behind Asan. Perti in Paddock Hill Bend is second, 0.3 behind Tharaxo. Connor Potter is P9, driving a Cooper, 0.5 behind Basic Russian setup. Perti on lap 11 is second, 0.3 behind Tharaxo. Connor Potter in Brabham Strait on lap 10 is 9th, 0.5 behind Basic Russian setup. Perti in Surtees Bend is second, 0.4 behind Tharaxo. Basic Russian setup in Druids Bend is P9, 0.5 behind Connor Potter. Perty is P2, 0.4 behind Tharaxo. Basic Russian setup is 9th, driving a Audi, 0.3 behind Connor Potter. Basic Russian setup was 1.8 faster last lap. Perty in Sterling's Bend is 2nd, 0.5 behind Tharaxo. Basic Russian setup in Hawthorne's Bend is P9, 0.3 behind Connor Potter. Perty in Clark Curve is 2nd, 0.4 behind Tharaxo. Asan from Pakistan in Sheen Curve is P7, 0.5 behind Goshu Loshido. Perty in Halewoods Hill is P2, 0.2 behind Tharaxo. Goshu Loshito in Clearways is 7th, 0.2 behind Asan. Perty in Graham Hill Bend is P2, driving a Hyundai, 0.4 behind Tharaxo. Goshu Lashoto in Paddock Hill Bend is P7, driving a Audi, 0.4 behind Asan. Perty in Hawthorne Hill is 2nd, 0.6 behind Tharaxo. Slemwy in Brabham Straight is 12th, 0.3 ahead of Asan. Perty is P-2, 0.6 behind Tharaxo. Haas in Halewoods Hill is 12th, 0.2 behind Clemwy. Clemwy was 1.1 faster last lap. Hassan passed CL3Me for P11. Connor Potter is 8th. Jamper in Cooper Straight is P13. Best lap is a 134.871, 0.4344 off the fastest lap. Connor Potter in Dingle Dell is P9, 0.4 behind Basic Russian setup. Connor Potter was 1.3 faster last lap. Jamper in Hawthorne's Bend is 13th, 0.3 behind Clemmy. L3MY is P12, 0.6 ahead of Jamper. Jamper is 13th, driving an Audi, 0.3 behind Clemmy. Connor Potter in Druids Bend on lap 13 is P9, 0.6 behind Basic Russian setup. Jamper in Halewoods Hill is 13th, 0.6 behind Slemmy. Slemmy was 1.1 faster last lap. Connor Potter is 9th, 0.8 behind Basic Russian setup. The leader has just finished the race. Tharaxo finished P1. Perty finished 1st. Philip finished 3rd. Potato finished 4th. Ishkoptovich finished 5th. Asan finished 6th. Goshu Loshoto finished 7th. Basic Russian setup finished P8. Connor Potter finished P9. Hex finished 10th. Asen finished 11th. Clemmy finished 12th. Jamper finished 13th. Announcer bot is active. The race session is at Brands Hatch Circuit in Falcombe, Great Britain. Jumper from Italy is first. Clemmy is P2. Austin from Canada is third. X from Latvia is fourth. Connor Potter from United Kingdom is fifth. Goshula Shodo from Bulgaria is P6. Asan from Pakistan is P7. Biskuptovits from Poland is P8. Potato is ninth. Philip from Belgium is P10. 20 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. Jumper is first. Potato in Brabham Strait is P6. Connor Potter in Paddock Hill Bend is P3. Austin in Druids Bend is P2. Clemmy is P2. Connor Potter in Graham Hill Bend is second. Potato in Cooper Strait is P3. Connor Potter in Surtees Bend is P2. Basic Russian setup, entering the pits, is 13th. Perkty from Finland in Hawthorne Hill is P5. Connor Potter is second. Connor Potter passed Astrin for P1 basic Russian setup exiting pits. Asen is P2. Asan is third. Goshu Lashoto in Clearways is fifth. Aston and Clark Curve is P3. Purdy in Brabham Strait is P4, 0.2 behind Ostrin. Osthern in Halewoods Hill on lap 2 is third, 0.3 ahead of Purdy. Philip in Druids Bend on lap 2 is P7, 0.3 behind Thoraxo. Philip passed Goshu Lashoto for fifth. Goshu Lashoto is sixth, number 6. Potato in Cooper Strait is ninth, battling Jumper. Philip in Pilgrim's Drop is fifth, 0.5 behind Thoraxo. ACM in Pilgrim's Drop is 12th. Best lap is a 142.963, 1.715 off the fastest lap. Hex in Dingle Dell is 7th, 0.8 behind Goshu Lashoto. Asan is P2, driving a Cupra, 0.4 behind Connor Potter. Potato is 8th, 0.6 behind Hex. Asan in Brabham Strait is P2, 0.4 behind Connor Potter. Potato in Brabham Strait is 8th, 0.3 behind Hex. Hurty in Druids Bend is P3, driving a Hyundai, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Hex in Druids Bend is 8th, 0.1 behind Potato. Purdy in Cooper Strait is 3rd, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Hex in Cooper Straight is 8th, 0.2 behind Potato. Potato was 2.0 faster last lap. Purdy in Hawthorne Hill is P3, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Purdy was 0.8 faster last lap. Hex in Houghton's Bend is P8, 0.1 behind Potato. Bertie in Westfield Bend is P4, 0.3 behind Theraxo. Potato in Dingle Dell is 8th, 0.4 behind Hex. Potato was 2.0 faster last lap. Theraxo from Spain is P3, 0.1 ahead of Purdy. Purdy in Clark Curve is P4, 0.3 behind Theraxo. It's 15 minutes remaining in the session. Theraxo in Druids Bend is P3 driving a Cupra, 0.5 ahead of Purdy. Purdy in Graham Hill Bend is 4th, 0.4 behind Theraxo. Theraxo in Surtees Bend is 3rd, 0.6 behind Connor Potter. Theraxo was 2.8 faster last lap. Hex in Surtees Bend is 9th, 0.5 behind Biskoptovitz. Theraxo from Spain in Hawthorne's Bend is P3, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Theraxo passed Connor Potter for P2. Purdy is P3. Philip from Belgium in Sheen Curve is 5th, 0.3 behind Connor Potter. Purdy on lap 4 is 3rd, 0.2 behind Theraxo. Philip in Clearways is 5th, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Philip was 1.5 faster last lap. Purdy in Brabham Straight is 3rd, 0.1 behind Theraxo. Goshu Lashoto in Paddock Hill Bend is 5th, driving an Audi, 0.4 behind Connor Potter. Goshu Lashoto was 5.0 faster last lap. Purdy in Graham Hill Bend on lap 5 is P3, 0.5 behind Theraxo. Connor Potter in Cooper Straight is P5, 0.5 ahead of Potato. Purdy from Finland is 3rd, 0.4 behind Theraxo. Connor Potter in Pilgrim's Drop on lap 5 is 5th, 0.4 behind Goshu Lashoto. Purdy is 3rd, 0.2 behind Theraxo. Connor Potter is P5, 0.5 behind Goshu Lashoto. Purdy is 3rd, 0.4 behind Theraxo. Connor Potter in Sheen Curve is 6th, driving a Cupra, 0.6 ahead of Philip. Purdy in Clearways is P-3, 0.4 behind Theraxo. Potato in Brabham Straight is 5th, 0.8 behind Goshu Lashoto. Connor Potter in Druids Bend is 6th, 0.6 behind Potato. Purdy in Cooper Straight is 3rd, 0.5 behind Theraxo. Potato in Cooper Straight is P5 driving a Hyundai, 0.4 behind Goshu Lashoto. Purdy in Hawthorne Hill on lap 6 is P3, 0.5 behind Theraxo. Connor Potter is 6th, 1.4 behind Potato. Perty is P3, 0.5 behind Theraxo. Goshu Loshoto and Sheen Curve is P5, 0.3 behind Potato. Theraxo in Clearways is 3rd, 0.3 behind Purdy. Connor Cotter in Brabham Strait is P5, battling Goshu Lashoto. Theraxo in Druids Bend is 3rd, driving a Cupra, 0.5 behind Purty. Connor Potter in Druids Bend is P6, 0.1 behind Goshu Lashoto. Theraxo from Spain in Surtees Bend is P3, 0.5 behind Pirti. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Connor Potter is 6th. Philip in Hawthorns Bend is P7. Best lap is a 1:32.205.932 off the fastest lap. Philip passed Goshu Lashoto for 6th. Hex is 10th. Philip is P6, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Hex is 10th, 0.6 behind CL3MY. Hex passed CLEMY for 9th. Connor Potter is 6th. Philip in Halewoods Hill on lap 8 is P6, 0.1 behind Connor Potter. Philip lost 6th to Goshu Lashoto. Philip lost P7 to Bishkop Toviets. Theraxo is P3, 0.9 behind Perkty. Goshu Lashoto in Hawthorn Hill is 6th. Best lap is a 1:32.317, 1.073 off the fastest lap. Theraxo is 3rd, 0.9 behind Pirti. Jamper is 11th, 1.0 behind Philip. Theraxo is P3, 0.9 behind Purdy. Connor Potter is P6, 0.1 behind Goshu Lashoto. Theraxo in Hawthorn Hill on lap 9 is P3, 1.2 behind Perkty. Connor Potter is P6. Best lap is a 1:32.444, 1.748 off the fastest lap. Philip in Surtees Bend is 10th. 0.9 behind CL3MY. Connor Potter and Sterling's Bend is 6th, 1.2 behind Goshu Lashoto. Tharaxo from Spain in Druids Bend is 3rd, 1.5 behind Pirti. Connor Potter in Druids Bend is P6, 1.2 behind Goshu Lashoto. Villick in Halewoods Hill is 11th, 0.6 behind Jamper. Jamper in Druids Bend is 11th, 0.2 behind Phillip. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Connor Potter from United Kingdom in Westfield Bend is 6th, 1.3 behind Goshu Lashoto. Goshu Lashoto was 2.6 faster last lap. Goshu Lashoto from Bulgaria is 6th, 0.1 behind Connor Potter. Goshu Lashoto was 2.6 faster last lap. Jamper from Italy in Sheen Curve is 11th, 1.2 behind Phillip. Goshu Lashoto in Halewoods Hill is 6th, 0.2 behind Connor Potter. Pertti from Finland in Hawthorne Hill is 2nd, 0.7 behind Asan. Goshu Lashoto in Surtees Bend is P6, 0.6 behind Connor Potter. Pertin in Dingledell is 2nd, 0.3 behind Asan. Goshu Lashoto in Hawthorne's Bend is 6th, 0.6 behind Connor Potter. Pertti is P2, 0.5 behind Asan. Goshu Lashoto in Dingledell is 6th. Best lap is a 1:31.783, 1.087 off the fastest lap. Pertney in Paddock Hill Bend on lap 12 is P2, 0.4 behind Asan. Tharaxo in Druids Bend is 3rd, 0.6 behind Pertney. Pirti is P2, 0.6 behind Asan. Pirti was 1.6 faster last lap. Tharaxo in Pilgrim's Drop is P-3, 0.7 behind Pertti. Pertti from Finland in Hawthorne Hill is 2nd, 0.5 behind Asan. Tharaxo is 3rd, 0.6 behind Pertti. Pertti is P2, 0.5 ahead of Tharaxo. Tharaxo in Shin Curve is P3, 0.4 behind Pertti. Pertti is 2nd, 0.5 ahead of Tharaxo. Tharaxo in Clearways is P3, 0.6 behind Pertti. Pirti from Finland in Clark Curve is P2, 0.3 behind Asan. Tharaxo in Paddock Hill Bend is P3, 0.6 behind Pertti. Pertti in Halewoods Hill is P2, 0.4 behind Tharaxo. Pertti lost P2 to Asan. Asen in Cooper Strait is second, 0.3 ahead of Pirti. Pirti in Surtees Bend is P3.5 behind Asan. Asen in Hawthorne's Bend is second, 0.8 ahead of Pirti. Pirti from Finland in Westfield Bend is P3, 0.6 behind Asan. Asen in Clearways is second. Pirti and Clark Curve on lap 13 is P3, 0.4 behind Asan. The leader has just finished the race. Thoraxo finished P1. Asan finished P2. Pirti finished P3. Potato finished P4. Basic Russian setup finished 13th. Connor Potter finished 5th. Goshu Loshoto finished P6. This Koptoviets finished 7th. Hex finished 8th. Clemmy finished 9th. Philip finished P10. Jamper finished 11th. Asen is 12th. Asen finished P12.